With Halloween just around the corner, I thought it might be fun to tell you all a couple of my retro hardware horror stories. Let's go.
Mark fixes stuff. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. You can get an instant quote on a variety of services, or browse a library of talented makers' designs, add them to your cart, and have them delivered directly to your door.
So a Facebook memory popped up this week that told me that about 6 years ago I was at Guildford Comic Con, where Robert Llewellyn of Red Dwarf fame, and many of you will know Crichton from Red Dwarf, was on a panel. And Robert was asked jokingly if he himself believed in the concept of Silicon Heaven, the artificial intelligence sort of afterlife. Ever the entertainer, Robert donned the voice of Crichton himself and explained that, of course all gadgets go to heaven. Anything else would be preposterous. Where would the calculators go? Well, everything except for rubbish devices like the ZX Spectrum. A few years have passed, and whilst my trauma at Robert's scathing Spectrum comment has eased, the memory of the conversation has caused me to ponder where did all my childhood gadgets, computers and consoles go? I can remember the fate of a few, but the majority of these devices that featured so heavily in my formative years seem to have just slipped away into the night. Viewer beware. In the next few minutes you will be informed of the most foul hardware acts, but please be assured that I'm now a reformed character. My first ever victim was my first computer, an Acorn Electron. I read in the magazine Electron User how to reset the machine whilst leaving the program resident in RAM, which is good for things like cheating and pokes. This involved a bent paperclip touching two contacts on the expansion connector, and it worked. Well, until it didn't, and my Electron became a useless beige paperweight. It was hidden for a long time without me having the gumption to tell my parents that it was mysteriously broken. It was partially repaired, but only ever worked in black and white after that. I'd be able to fix it today, but boyhood me shamefully took it all apart and never put it back together again. In fact, I do have a small later recollection of butchering the keyboard and wiring up the keys in some kind of homemade gamepad after I was given a Commodore 64 with games that my stepdad had got from a bloke down the pub. Talking of the C64, one of the games that I bought for that with some birthday money was the infamous Great Guiana Sisters. Or is it Giana Sisters? I don't know, but it's a title that's worth serious money these days. Could I tell you where that ended up? No. Nor the Commodore. Not even if you tortured me. Similarly, I don't recall what happened to my original Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Sega Mega Drive, or many of the games that I cherished back in the day. Now, for some of you, this kind of flippant disregard for my machines back then will be distasteful, if not a touch unbelievable. Admittedly, my special recipe of being non-neurodiverse, having a low attention span, and also a massive dollop of laziness does render me with a memory somewhat resembling an explosion in a jumble sale. But I think in the context of those times, I simply didn't care enough for it to make a mark. This was illustrated by the stark contrast of the one time I did care, and I did care very, very much. Hold on to your hats, this gets horrible. When the Dreamcast was released, I bought one. I also purchased 2 light guns, House of the Dead, and several other games. It was amazing. About a week later, we decorated my flat, and in advance of stripping the wallpaper, I carefully placed my precious new system into a black plastic bag to stop it getting dusty. The wallpaper was stripped and the detritus was put into similar black plastic bags. The next day when I returned home from work, my girlfriend at the time had helpfully put all those bags into the outside bin because it was bin day and the bin men were coming that morning. I still dream about that Dreamcast. Happy Halloween.